Nationals! Right then folks, this is the new Voge DS900X, I believe. 900cc twin 4-stroke inline engine. It has all the bells and whistles, pretty much everything. It's got cruise control, it's got safety radar, you know, proximity doodahs, 6-speed box, slipper clutch, traction control. I think it's got 6-axis IMU, you name it, this thing has it. And you get it all. I just looked on the website this morning and it seems to have changed. You get even the luggage included now.
Hi, I got that wrapped around my neck. Right, the 2024 model, that has luggage included, but that goes for £8,999 on the road. The 2025 model, that does not have luggage included, but you can get the luggage for £699. The on-the-road price without luggage is £8,499. Then you have to add £699 for your luggage. However, the 2025 model comes with the 6-axis Bosch ABS system and also the ability to have turn-by-turn navigation on the 7-inch dash via the Carbit Ride app thing, more of which I'll cover later. Okay, back to me.
That is a heck of a lot of machine, but is it any good? Well, I'm just heading home now. I've done a week's tour of Scotland, the Beyond 500 tour of chicken strips, and then I just spent the last sort of 5 days or so with family up here, seeing my boy over on Rassay, spent time with my dad and my brother and his family. So I'm just riding home now and thought, well, what better time to give you the review? So 1,500 odd miles in, going to do another 500 today. What are my thoughts? This is a cracking bike. There's no getting away from it. Yes, it's Chinese, but this engine is the engine, basically, essentially, this is the engine, the same one that's in the BMW F900 GS. It is pretty much exactly the same engine. It's built in the same factory by the same people who make the engine for the GS, as well as quite a few others. And it shows. It is beautifully smooth, very refined. It produces 95 brake and 95 newton meters of torque. Bike itself is about 230 odd kilograms, 225, 235, something like that. So it's in line with the 1300 GS now, although considerably smaller in engine and down on power. But that's not its main competition, is it? It's got full Brembo brakes, adjustable front and rear suspension, 21-inch front wheel for those lunatics out there who want to take this off in the dirt. I haven't done any dirt riding, folks. In fact, this bike's not even showing the enduro mode for some reason. It must be somewhere in the settings. I'm not going to be using it, so I haven't looked too far. Speaking of settings, it's got rain mode, road mode, sport mode, and obviously, if I could find it, the enduro. I mean, this bike, oh yeah, it's even got heated grips and heated seats. I mean, it's basically the complete package, folks. I have loaded this thing up to the gunwales. I've got every bit of luggage that I normally take, which fills up the Lone Rider panniers and top box which I have. I've managed to cram everything into the luggage on here. It is considerably smaller. Even the top box is a little bit smaller than your standard top box size. Ooh, wait there. But I have managed to get everything in. I've had to load up my rucksack quite a bit more than I normally do, but I've got everything in. However, bear in mind, I've got 2 weeks of clothing in here. I have a full trauma pack, quite an extensive first aid kit, some light toolage, and a bottle of gin in the panniers. And then the top box is rammed full of all my filming and electrical. And with all that load, plus my fat arse of 20 stone, 280 pounds, 120 something kilograms, whatever it is, even with all that weight on there, this bike will still perform. My main issue, in fact my only issue with this bike, is it doesn't engage with me. The engine it's almost too refined. It doesn't shout and roar enough. Speaking of which, this has the specially built Scorpion exhaust on this bike. They'll do a full system for it. This is just the slip-on, I believe. But it is very quiet. I have my earplugs in. I'd hardly know the engine is even on, to be honest. And that does kind of take away from the ride for me. I like an engaging ride. I like a bike that shouts and roars at me. Barks, pops, farts, all that sort of stuff. And this doesn't do that. It's sort of like an angry sewing machine, to be honest with you. And that is a criticism of the BMW F900 GS as well. It's just not an engaging engine. Some of you might love it. So as always, if you're thinking of this, chuck your leg over one of these and take it for a spin. Oh, blimey. There we go. Look, I mean, I was a little smidgen above the national speed limit there, and I had no idea. It kind of reminds me of the NT1100, that Honda NT1100. The bike just didn't feel engaging in the slightest, and to be honest, I was kind of bored a lot of the time. And it was only once I went back and I started watching the footage that I realised how fast I was actually going. It just didn't feel like I was going quick at all. I had big problems with this bike initially when I first started riding it. The back, the suspension, the shock felt so soft. The ride was horrible. The engine was really jerky, more of which I'll come on to later. So I think after the first day, I thought, oh, hang on a minute. The shock's supposed to be adjustable, let's have a little look. And I managed to tighten it up in total by 10 turns. So it must have been, I think I could probably squeeze another one out of it maybe now, but it's pretty damn tight now. So it's probably at the loosest setting, at the softest setting. And that's transformed this bike. It really has. It's firmed the rear right up. It sort of connected me with the road again. I felt like I couldn't feel anything. You were just sort of floating and bouncing your way along. Now, I feel like I'm connected to the road, much more engaging than it was. I haven't altered the front. The front feels fine for me. Absolutely fine. Even with this 21-inch front wheel, to be honest, normally I'm not a fan of the 21-inch for the road riding, because it does, once you start kicking on a little bit, pushing it a wee bit, especially once you're sort of cornering at any sort of speed, the 21-inch front wheel does start to feel a little bit just like that. Another technical term for you. This doesn't. Do you know what I mean? This bike will absolutely do it for the road. It's not going to leave you wanting at all. I found myself having to be a little bit pickier with my overtakes than I am with, you know, the big adventure bikes where you've just got all that power. It's a lazy ride, isn't it, on the big modern adventure bikes? You just point the nose, twist the throttle, and you know that that bike is going to get you out of any issues that are coming. You know, you would pretty much overtake anything on the road within reason, obviously. This, it can still do it, but I've found myself erring more on the side of caution with this, purely because I haven't got that extra 40 odd brake and newton meters of torque just to get me out of trouble if I've cocked up the timing of the overtake. Brakes themselves, lovely. Twin cylinder Brembos front and rear. Absolutely do the job. Better brakes than the Morbidelli I had the last time, but I think I do prefer the engine on the Morbidelli, even though it's slightly down on this in terms of power, despite being a bigger engine. It was just a bit more shouty and engaging. But I do think that's doing this a disservice, because this is a fantastic bike. This bike oozes quality. You look at it, it looks real decent quality. Get out of it. And the second you even, you know, feel anything on this bike or sit on it, it just feels very well put together. Right. That's the main twisty bit done. What's it like on motorways? Well, funny you should ask. Motorways. Well, it's got an adjustable screen, but for me personally, I'm 6'3". I do find the screen, that's at its maximum height. It is just kind of directing all the wind turbulence straight to my face, sort of nose and eye level. Having said that, it's not horrendous, but it is quite excuse me. It is quite noisy. Talking the general comfort, seat height on this is, I think it's 825 millimeters. That's just too low for me. I have an inside leg of, is it 32 or 33 inch? About 850 millimeters is about right for me. 825 feels quite cramped, and the foot pegs do feel quite high for me on this bike. That'll be due to the low seat height. But for you midgets out there, you may well get on with this bike. I don't know if you can get a higher seat. I bought a high seat for my GS and it has transformed the 1300 GS for me. So if you're thinking of this bike and you're a bit more of a normal, proper heighted person, is that a word, heighted? If you're of normal stature, not a midget, then yeah, look at the higher seat option for the bike. Apart from that, very comfortable place to be. Heated seat works really well. The heated grips has 3 levels. Level 3 is nuclear, not as hot as the BMWs, but still pretty damn hot. Level 2 I find a nice comfortable one. Temperatures ranging, you know, the temperature's sort of between 12, 13 degrees and about 18 degrees. Level 2 was fine, just took the pinch off if needed. Don't start moaning, say 12 degrees isn't cold, blah 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 blah. Very good, you're awesome. What else can I tell you about comfort? It's a really big sculpted tank on this, huge, almost looks GSA stature, it's massive, but it's really well designed because you just sit in it, lovely. You know, your knees can just grip the tank beautifully, and it gives a really nice connection with the bike. When you're standing up, I do feel like you can still grip the bike well with your legs. But I would need, certainly if I was going to be doing a lot of off-roading in this bike, I'd look at some risers for the handlebar, because it does make me a bit stooped over when I'm stood up. But then the standard GS does that also for me. The seat itself, very comfortable, no issues with the seat at all. And I think in terms of comfort, that is about it. Let's get back on the twisties. Actually, while we're on this sort of motorway type stuff, cruise control, right? Cruise control, over on the left here, you activate it by just pulling it in a little bit and you'll see the cruise control symbol will come up on the dash. Then to set, you just push away and hold, see it'll go green, and it'll give you the temperature, no sorry, not the temperature, it's not an oven, it'll show you the speed that you set it at, and that is it. You can obviously increase or decrease, pull it towards you to decrease the speed, push it away to increase the speed. You can see here, it's not adjustable, adaptive even, it's not adaptive cruise control. However, I think for a 900cc top spec bike for $8.5 grand, I don't think you should hold that against it. Okay, let's get on the twists and have a little bit more fun. Okay, we're back on the twists. Something which I forgot in that initial ramble, fueling. Now this became very evident, 240. This became very evident on the Scotland tour when we're going through town. Scotland sadly has loads of these ridiculous 20-mile-an-hour limits through all the villages, towns and villages. Ridiculous, but we'll not get into the politics of that. Very, very hard to ride at 20 miles an hour on this bike. No matter what gear you're in, first, second, third gear, it's pulling, it's searching all the time, and it's doing it in road mode or sport. In fact, I think I even tried rain just to see, and it's still pulling all the time. You have to get it up to sort of 25-30 miles an hour, run about third into fourth gear, and then it starts to behave itself. You do every now and then, you do feel a little surge in power. It's probably to do with the ride-by-wire throttle. It's quite sensitive. That's about, I mean, it's genuinely about the only criticism, if you like, I can think of for this bike. Oh, instrumentation, but we'll cover that nearer the time. Oh, see what I mean? Like, see there how it just sort of lurches away from you sometimes. Back down to 40. Right, let's get back on the Nationals and we'll continue the chat. Oh, climbing. There we go, see what I mean? Look, already. Okay, let's get back down to the speed limits because we're trying to be good. Yeah, so this bike is more than capable. Absolutely more than capable. Just came out into the Nationals there. We're just in the Scottish borders now. Wind on the throttle. You have to get the revs right up, like get them high, and you can start to hear that engine screaming a bit, roaring a wee bit. Then yeah, it adds to the engagement levels, but you know, you're really wringing its neck. I am wearing earplugs. I have to now because I'm going deaf, so I'm trying to limit the hearing damage as much as possible. I did ride it the other day with no earplugs, just for a quick sort of 10-minute squirt somewhere. And yeah, the engine sounds quite fruity, but with earplugs in, hardly hear it at all. Right, so we're on the twisties. Oh, better sync them up. Sync them up, 1, 2, 3. We're on the twisties. These are pretty bumpy. This bike does well. Just soaks it all up. It's actually quite fun to ride on these roads, these type of roads. But again, you know, you need to get the revs right up to get the best out the engine and to hear that roar, make it come alive a little bit. Oh, it's got quick shifter. Have I mentioned that? It's got quick shifter and a blipper. They work really well, actually. This is chain driven as well, not shaft. And the handling, it's really quite good. Feels sort of neutral handling, to be honest. Quite light. It's not a big lumbering machine. Feels nicely balanced, even moving it off the bike as well. It doesn't feel a big hulking machine. Well, I don't find it a big heavy machine at all. Yeah, I mean, I like it. I do like it. It has left me a bit flat compared to like the Morbidelli. I found the Morbidelli sort of more fun, more engaging. But this does feel a much better quality bike. And you get a lot more with this. And I think you're getting a higher quality of bits with this as well. Morbidelli came with a lot of stuff, but this just feels like it's, you know, another rung or two above on the quality ladder. In fact, shall we find somewhere to have a little look at the bike? I think we should. Let's see where we can find. Right, let's have a look at this machine. So, here's the luggage itself. Probably similar size to the Morbidelli stuff. Now, I've got my Lone Rider 38 litre bag in here, and you can see there, you know, I have to scrunch it up quite a bit to get it to fit inside there. But it will fit. There's 2 weeks worth of clothing in there. This exhaust side one, again, it's pretty anorexic, but you know, it's got my trauma pack, it's got a bottle of gin for Mrs. Teapot, and it's got some other sort of first aid kits in there. You can see how, you know, it goes from this width down to basically a fist width, more or less. You can get a fist in, but that is about it. And then the top box. Again, that's my top box liner bag from the Lone Rider thing, and it would probably come to about there and there normally, so it's maybe about an inch narrower, an inch, in all dimensions, basically, it's about an inch less. Bike itself, it's not a bad looking bike, is it? Everyone says the front looks really good. Now it comes with those spots, full LED lighting that's on it. Comes with the crash bars. Camera. It comes with the dash cam. You access that from the app. Actually, let's go and have a look at that because that's something I've not looked at yet. So we'll go back to me in my office and we'll have a look at the app.
Hi, me. I'd love to show you what the dash cam looks like, but I've nothing. It doesn't work on this bike for some reason. I've tried putting an SD card in, still recorded nothing. I tried connecting via the apps, it shows nothing. I don't know. I spoke with MotoGB, the UK distributor. They said, yeah, just put an SD card in, connect via Wi-Fi, and it should work. I've done all that, and it doesn't. So sorry, I can't tell you what the dash cam looks like. What I did find was that you can connect via Bluetooth via a different app. I think it's called Car Rider Bit or something like that. And that will give you turn-by-turn navigation on the 7-inch screen. Looks pretty good. It looks like it's based on either Google or Apple Maps, that type of thing. And it gives audible turn-by-turn signals as well, which you can connect to your comms unit if you wanted to do that. I think it's a subscription-based thing because I had a pop-up saying monthly, annual sort of charge. And you cannot connect via CarPlay. I've tried doing that anyway because obviously I use Kalimoto. The app side of things, as usual, companies need to do a lot of work or just forget all about it, in my opinion, because they very rarely seem to work. If they do, it seems to be a laborious process and they're never quite as good as the aftermarket stuff you can get. Anyway, that's just my 10 pence worth. Back to me talking about something.
Let's get back to this. Now look, this here, look at this thing. This came flying out when I was on the tour, and it's working its way loose again. I think it's just decoration, but if it's not, that's bloody dangerous. I'm hoping that doesn't hold the entire head clamp on, but it works its way loose. That yoke head thing did actually come off. I didn't notice it coming out. Unreal, because it's literally, it's about 3 fingers depth, the thread to come out. And it managed it somehow and fell off the bike when I was riding back. Well, the handlebars haven't come off yet, so... But yeah, bike itself, not bad at all. It's a good-looking machine. Oh yeah, power-wise, look, you've got your traditional cigarette lighter here, but it also, on the other side, so you've got your 12-volt power cigarette lighter thing. And then on this side, the one I'm currently using just to charge up the camera there, it's USB-A, the traditional one, and USB-C. Not bad at all. Now my fuel light's just come on, but I know I've got a good 30-odd miles at least with that fuel light. But let's get to the petrol station and I'll tell you about fuel. Right, fuel. The bike's keyless, but you need the key to get into the fuel tank, and it's a snazzy little thing. Key comes out of the fob. So 17-litre tank. I'm getting around about 190 miles to a tank, but the fuel gauge, it sort of lies like a cheap watch, much like the Morbidelli did. Each split into 5, and each segment is round about 35 miles, I think. But again, you'll be full for ages and ages and ages. All of a sudden it drops to half a tank, and then before you know it, the fuel light's flashing. Don't panic, you've got at least 35, 40 miles, at least. So that fuel light's been flashing for quite a while now. How much fuel? Right, so that is absolutely brimmed. And I thought I was on fumes. 16.3 litres. So I was close on that one. Right, let's go and get that paid.
So come on, 1, 2, 3. Right, I had to bring you back. My impression of this bike is changing rapidly on this road. This is an awesome machine. You have to thrash it. You really have to get those revs up. And that makes that engine scream at you. It really does shout and roar. And the bike just comes alive. This is quite a tight, gnarly, scratching road here. I'm right up in Cumbria at the moment, working my way south to get by these folk. And I've been spanking it somewhat. Probably not good for it to be on camera. So I'm easing off a little bit now for the cameras. It's a lot of fun. and it is more than capable, this machine. It's great fun. I think maybe I've been a bit unkind by saying it's not engaging enough. You just have to ride it different. You've really got to make it sing. Get the volume of that engine up so that you can hear it, you can feel it through the bike, and it does sort of roar at you once you... Sorry, there was gravel on the road there, so just getting by it. Once you get through it. Sport mode is really quite... It's just gravel on the inside there. Sport mode is really quite snatchy, but I quite like it. I think if you had a pillion, you definitely, there's a big camper coming, you'd want to be on road mode. That definitely dulls things down quite a bit. Rain mode, if you want it to be in raid mode, just give up, hand your keys to somebody, leave the bike and give up biking. Just, why do people, I don't get why folk use rain mode. Anyway, it's your choice. Sport is definitely the most dynamic, as it should be, but it is quite snatchy on you. But again, it increases the engagement levels. I like that.
Okay then, folks. Right. Well, there's not much else I can say. It is a cracking machine. The Voge DS900X 2025 version, which I've just ridden. That is a cracking machine. And for £8,499, you are getting a lot for your money. The bike feels quality. It rides really well. Get the revs up, like I just said there, and you can start having some fun. I did feel a little bit flat, I must admit, for a lot of the tour, but that's the kind of rider I am. I like a screaming, growling bike, really. One that tickles the danglies, as we said. And until you get the revs up, that one didn't. Having a look on the MotoGB website, so if you're here in the UK, that's who you're going to buy the bike through. That's the UK distributor. They're offering finance deals, so for a £500 deposit, you're going to be looking at £168 a month, and that's for 5 years finance. Obviously, you can up your deposit, reduce your monthlies, entirely up to you. Would I recommend the bike? Aye, absolutely. If the 900cc sort of adventure bike, touring bike is in your wheelhouse at the moment, or you're looking at a more budget price machine of high spec, then I would certainly advise you to cast your eyes towards the Voge. Maybe didn't grab me by the danglies the way that the Morbidelli did, but it certainly feels on a different tier in terms of quality, and this thing is stacked. Okay, massive thanks to MotoGB for supplying the bike. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Leave me a comment down below, leave it a like, give us a share. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button if you've not yet done so. That's Beryl, one of our mogs. And a massive shout out to all of you over in the clan for going that extra mile with your support. Again, there'll be links down below if you fancy coming to join us. All right, folks, keep doing your thing. Get on out there whenever you can. But most importantly, live your life. Woo-ha!